Hello, all you Mountaineer fans and all of the haters of schools in Pennsylvania. Get ready to talk a little bit about some crazy simulations that West Virginia Mountaineers on SI did. Going to talk about it real soon. Stay tuned. So, guys, high school football is starting to wind up. So I'm figuring let's do a later Friday show. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited, especially when I saw a little article written on SI.com, West Virginia Mountaineers on SI. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but I'm still seeing memes for that Australian breakdancer, and I can't get enough. I'm sorry, I can't. I think it's funny as heck. It is, but there are some really good news stories for the Mountaineers, and that would be there's two guys that come to mind. You know who I'm talking about? They play for a Pittsburgh team that I don't mind rooting for, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. You don't have to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan to root for Beanie Bishop, who's playing nickelback for the Steelers, or for our boy Zach Frazier, West Virginia All-American. It looks as though Beanie Bishop might be the starter and not only make the team. You know, when he got drafted, I thought, yeah, he might make the team. To Cam Sutton getting 8-game suspension, now it's just pretty much a sure thing he's going to make the team. Not only is he going to make the team, Beanie Bishop's going to be a starter. And last Thursday, Pittsburgh plays tomorrow night. I know this is the Mountaineers show, but we're talking about two Mountaineers. Beanie Bishop looked pretty good. He had the second most tackles. And I know it's a preseason game. You can't take much from it, but he looked good. He looked solid. Very happy to hear that Beanie Bishop is kicking butt. Zach Frazier was Zach Frazier. It's what we expected, as Tomlin would say. He's what we expected. He looked very, very, very good with the run block. I don't know enough about the pass blocking because I'm not like an offensive line guy. There was some. I don't know if it was him or someone beside him, but it looked like they got a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. But Zach Frazier looks good overall. I'd give him a solid B plus. Beanie Bishop a B plus. And I'll give you a report next week on Tuesday because I'm going to watch the game tomorrow night. Hopefully, we're going to see more Zach Frazier and more Beanie Bishop. And if you haven't watched them, tune in just for that, guys. Watch them. They're usually playing preseason the first 2 series. Zach Frazier played a little more than that. 15 minutes. Let me know what you think in the comments about our boy Beanie Bishop and our boy Zach. Very, very excited about those two Mountaineers. So, you know, EA Sports. It's a fun game. We all play it. We have a good time. Hey, Kelly. EA Sports is a fun game. My kids play it. I enjoy watching them play it. But there's these simulators, and I usually use the Magic 8 Ball. I have it right here. We'll do the Magic 8 Ball old school next week. Tune in next week as I use the Magic 8 Ball to see how the Mountaineers do. So we're going to pull up. This. I'm going to share the screen. This is what the game looks like when you pull up EA Sports. Okay? I don't know, Kelly, have you seen this? This is what the game looks like. So you pull it up, and Bubba, if you haven't seen this, this is amazing. It is like crazy. I don't know what this girl's jawing about, but I don't want to hear it. So it goes on to talk about the EA Sports 25 video game and how he simulated it. I want to get into each one of these games. There's one simulation in particular that goes kind of into what I talked about a few weeks ago, and I think it's pretty accurate. A lot of these simulations I would be okay with, and we're going to get into it. And you're going to get mad. If you're a Mountaineer fan, you might get mad at old Shane, but here we go. Simulation number 1. So guys, today I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, holy mackerel. Average wins is going to be 6.4. What did Vegas pick us at, and all the prognosticators and professionals? 6.5, right? This simulation was pretty spot on. So let's go to simulation 1. Okay, bear with the ads. I mean, I don't know how to get those to go away. So 8-5. Here's the kicker: 4-5 in conference play. Mountaineers are picked 9th, I think. So it kind of falls in line with that. But this is what pops off the page for me. I'm going to make it a little bigger, guys. That's what she said, right? Can you see that? Is that better? Okay. Penn State, first game. West Virginia wins. You're going to find this throughout the simulations that West Virginia beats Penn State in a lot of these. Okay. Albany, win. Pitt, win. Kansas loss. I can see that happening. Guys. Now, there was a report today where someone said that Kansas was overrated, but I think he's only saying that because he thinks Jalen Daniels is going to get hurt. Okay. But look at that. Kansas blew the Mountaineers out on their home field. Do you think that's going to happen? Kelly, I don't think that's going to happen. They might lose, but not by 30 points at home. Okay? That would be a rough game. Now, I'll be there. Let me get some Go Juice here. A little coffee with creamer at 10 at night. So, Oklahoma State is a win. Okay, so far I'm okay with being, 4-1. Mountaineers are 4-1. Then they go to Iowa State, or they have Iowa State at home, and they beat them. These are all close games, guys, other than the blowout at Kansas. All close games. Arizona is a win. Kansas State's a loss. So right now, the Mountaineers are sitting at 4-2, then 5-2. This is where it gets ugly, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I start scratching my head, and I think the season is just hitting the bed. Okay? But I've said it week in and week out. Would you take this? Would you take a loss to Cincinnati, Baylor, and UCF if you can beat Pitt and Penn State? It's like selling your soul to the devil. I think I would take this Pitt-Penn State win and 3 big L's late in the season. And this is supposed to be the easy part of the season. You know, Cincinnati, Baylor, and UCF. That's supposed to be clean, smooth sailing. Let's see what Kelly has to say. He says, I don't see that happening. Okay. Well, we're going to get on it. Okay. We're going to get on it. So simulation number 2. Okay. Here we go. 5-7 record. You guys want that a little bigger? 5-7 record. Okay. Conference record 3-6. I think it's going to look a little bit like simulation 1. So, once again, win over the Nittany Lions, a win over Albany, and a big loss to Pitt. They hung it on them, hung it on the Mountaineers. Then they lose to Kansas. Then they lose to Oklahoma, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona, and then they win 3 out of the 4 to end the season. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that 5-7 record? They wouldn't make a bowl. I don't know. That looks a little bit crazy, guys. Crazy. But you never know until they play. Let's go to simulation 3. I'm moving through these a little bit fast, but we're not going to have a long show tonight. I just want to talk about this. My kid has a scrimmage tomorrow. My son had a hangnail removed at the podiatrist today. Had to just do walkthroughs in practice. He's been playing with a nail that was like split down the middle. That has to hurt. But simulation 3 went off on a tangent there. Simulation 3, 9-4. Here, this is a good one, boys and girls. This is where it looks fun. Okay, I can see this happening. Get the Magic 8 Ball warmed up. Okay, don't want to antibodies. Okay, they beat Penn State once again. They beat Penn State. How many? So we're 3-0 against Penn State in these simulations so far, girls and boys. I dig it. Albany, close loss to Pitt. That's a little bit more palatable. Close loss to Kansas. This looks like it might be realistic. Beat Oklahoma State, beat Iowa State, beat Kansas, lose to Arizona. I can see that happening. A loss to Cincinnati. West Virginia usually loses to a team you don't expect them to lose to. Win at Baylor, win at UCF. Okay. So the loss at Kansas, Arizona, and Cincinnati. Man. Then they beat Texas Tech. And then, guys and girls, they beat a Big Ten team 2 times. Not once, but twice in the season. Wisconsin is like high mid-tier Big Ten. So this Sim 3 is, let me write that down. That might be the one. Sim 3. Let me write that down. That's a good one, guys. That's a good sim. I would take it. Because the Alamo Bowl is a good bowl. It all starts with the Penn State win, guys. You know how excited you'd be in Morgantown if you start the season with a win over Penn State at home? There's not going to be a couch left from Fairmont to Uniontown to Greene County to freaking Logan County. There's not going to be a couch. Lock up your couches. Lock them up. Hide them. I don't think you can buy a lighter unless you're 21, though. Simulation 4. 4-8. This season looks like a big turd, guys. This one here. Penn State with a win. So you would take all these L's. Would you? Kelly, would you take all these L's for a win against Penn State? This is a little bit too much. This is like selling your soul for sure here. You win, you lose a close one to Pitt, a touchdown to Kansas. It looks like a bunch of close losses, kind of like UCF last year. A lot of close losses. Kansas State, Iowa State loss. Beat Arizona, beat Cincinnati, Baylor lost, UCF a lost to Texas Tech. Guys, that's probably the worst one. That's just shit. Simulation 5, 3-9, conference record 1-8. Oh, for crying out loud. This is just crap too. Maybe the guy that played it just didn't have any skills. What do you think? Another win. So far, what it was, simulation 5? Yeah, simulation 5. We're 5-0 against the Nittany Lions. Are you seeing a pattern? Is the computer telling us? Oh, I don't want to ask the Magic 8 Ball. I don't want to do it. Okay. Another loss against Pitt. I see a theme here. Wins against Penn State, losses against Pitt. That could happen because guess what? You got all that swag. You think you're tough shit. You just beat Penn State. You beat on Albany, and then Pitt is like, okay, we smell what you're cooking, and we're fixing to bring some sides to this ass kicking salad, okay? And that's what's gonna, guys, man. That could happen. With the Penn State loss, Pitt could come in there and knock the shit out of West Virginia. So here is just they beat Kansas State, woohoo, and then they lose everything else. Would you guys be pissing and moaning and upset with Coach Brown? Would you? Would you be upset if Coach Brown went 1-8 in play? I think I would. Let's go to simulation 6, guys. 7-6, going to a bowl. I can see maybe this happening. This is what Vegas is pretty much telling us is going to happen. Once again, guys, start off the season with a banger. They're 6-0 against Penn State so far in the Sims. Beat Pitt, close game, lost to Kansas. Most of these Sims have the Mountaineers losing to Kansas. Oklahoma State loss, you can see that. Iowa State win, Kansas State win, Arizona loss, Cincinnati loss, Baylor loss, UCF Texas Tech. The Sun Bowl against Jacksonville State. So Rich Rod would be coaching against the Mountaineers. Say it ain't so, but the Mountaineers win. Man, but I don't know. I'd take those L's to beat Pitt and Penn State. I say it over and over because I just can't believe I'm saying it or thinking it. I need to go to church. Confess, sit there and confess that impure thoughts about Penn State and Pitt. Okay. So this is simulation 7. Okay, 7. Got Penn State lose, a loss against Penn State by 1, 27-28. I'm not hating on the Mountaineers if that happens. Sorry. And I'm sorry, ESPN. You better not be hating on the Mountaineers if that happens too, because that is a frickin' ball game. Then they beat Albany. Then they beat the Pitt Panthers. And that 38-17 is I think, accurate to the talent level that Pitt has versus West Virginia. Kansas win. Oklahoma State loss. I can see that. Iowa State win. Kansas State loss. I can see that. A win in Arizona, a win at Cincinnati, a loss at Baylor, so they finish out the season with 3 losses. But at this point, guys, they're literally, the Mountaineers only have 3 losses. So they're 6-3. And then they go win the Gasparilla Bowl against NC State. That's not too far-fetched. This is realistic here. 7 is realistic. Let me write that one down. 7 looks like it could happen. This is like the multiverse of madness. That's what it is. It's a multiverse of West Virginia football. So simulation 8 is 5-7. Penn State loss. Looks like a 2-touchdown loss. Win at Pitt, win at Albany, a loss at Kansas, a loss at Oklahoma State. Basically, they only beat Kansas State and Baylor and Texas Tech. This is my favorite, guys. Number 9. Might have changed my mind, but I'm thinking, what was it? Number 3 was good, but 8-5. 8th in the Big 12. So let's see what simulation 9 Okay. Penn State win, Albany win, Pitt win, Kansas win. So right here, you're into week 4. You're going into Oklahoma. You're going to go to Oklahoma State. West Virginia at this point, ladies and gentlemen, should be, I would say, 15 or between 15 and 18 in the rankings. With beating these teams right here, would you say? Hey, Jackson. So Jackson, do you think, what ranking do you think the Mountaineers would be if they're 4-0 going to Oklahoma State? I'm saying 15, 16, 17, 18, around in there. Then they go to Oklahoma State and they lose. Iowa State win, so now they're sitting at 5-1, still ranked in the top 25. Lose to Kansas State, might fall to 25 or 26. Lost to Arizona, drop out of the top 25. Beat Cincinnati and Baylor, come back into about 25, and then finish up losing, and then beat the Independence Bowl against Minnesota. So that would be 2 wins against Big Ten teams, and that would be like a Christmas present, guys, because I think the Independence Bowl's around Christmas. I like that one. 9's right up there with number 3 for me being accurate. I think it's going to happen. Here's 10, guys, 8 and 5. So if you've seen, like, I've only seen a couple losses so far, so it has us picked winning against the Nittany Lions most of the time. So here's the last one, guys. Penn State win, Pitt win, Albany win, Kansas, Oklahoma State again, and then Iowa State. Then they beat Kansas State, Arizona, lose to Cincinnati, beat Baylor. But up here, guys, that's a significant win over. That's like almost a 2-score win over Penn State. Same with Pitt. They're going to be ranked. Then to have them in the losing in the Independence Bowl against Rutgers. So most of the bowl games they have Mountaineers winning. However, Rutgers, they lose 21-28. This is pretty crazy, guys. So Jackson Johnson says he wouldn't be surprised the Mountaineers were one of those unranked teams to end up in the top 10. We can only dream, but if you go back to, the third one where they're, they're like, what, 9-4? I could see that happening before they have that second loss, but it doesn't matter where you're yeah, it's how you end the season. There's a lot of years where the Mountaineers were not in it. 2005, I'm thinking about. They were just, but they beat some ranked teams, built some momentum. Because in 2003, the Mountaineers lost to, I think it was like 15-14 against Cincinnati. I was MFing Rich Rod before we all fell in love with the winner. Everybody loves a winner. Sorry, guys. Bad habit of drinking coffee. It's not goat juice. Kansas is another team that kind of, yeah. I just saw an article, Jackson, today about Kansas being underrated. And that is damn sure a fact that they're underrated. But they're underrated because no one thinks that Jalen Daniels can stay healthy. He is their Pat White. That's it. If he stays healthy, he's going to come into Morgantown. Doesn't matter what side of the end zone you're sitting at, you're going to see some of Jalen White, or not Jalen White, Jalen Daniels. You're going to see him scoring some touchdowns. I'm just saying, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, I just wanted to hit you guys up. So Fridays, we're going to do this a little bit later. My kid plays ball Fridays. Trying to find a good time to do this with you. Maybe we'll go at 6. Maybe we'll go at 10. Maybe we'll try to do 2 shows, real short ones. But I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't watched Tuesday's show, it's almost two shows wrapped into one. For the first 45 minutes, we talked about the season with Joey, and then it's getting ready to just shut her down. And we had Traveling Fools and his buddy, who is a journalist for Clemson, talk Clemson football, how the ACC feels about conference realignment, how they feel about the conference health. So if you want to watch and find out from an ACC fan, and he's an Alabama grad, so he kind of has a good outlook, a really neat perspective on what's up. So if you should check that out. Let's see what the preseason ranking didn't matter last year because they had us last in the ball. Yeah, I think that, and that was the conversation beginning of the show on Tuesday was we got to motivate these kids. What's that country singer that came and talked to the Mountaineers? He basically said that they didn't look like they need motivated or look like they're professional. They have their shit together. And last year they kind of needed that motivational enema. But Neil Brown is secure. He has a job. I think even if he goes wins 6 games, he still has his job because that recruiting class that he has coming in is dynamite. How can you not get excited about the Mountaineers? So we're literally, guys, 15 days. So 2 weeks and a wake up. 2 weeks and a wake up. So my plan is I live 2 hours from Morgantown. Get down to Morgantown around 9-ish. Okay. Park the car. Probably park at the Coliseum. Walk over. That's what I usually do. Get to kind of see what's going on. Walk past the Alumni Center. Walk past where Pargos used to be, and now it's Chick-fil-A. And then, mosey down through, just see the festivities. Maybe stop in the bookstore if it's open. That's my MO. Taking my older son, my younger one will have a game that night. If he goes in the morning, he'll be wore out. Hopefully we can watch 90% of the game and then get in the car and head home for a high school game. Usually high school games are on Friday around here, but that one was moved to Saturday. So that's kind of what's going to happen for me. I'm just excited to be in the atmosphere. Yeah, I want to get a couple IVs of pepperoni rolls. Hit me up. I want to get those pepperoni rolls in me. I'm not going to be playing dizzy bad or drinking any beer. Maybe have one sip of moonshine. Make sure you're hydrated with waters. But just talk to people that I haven't seen in a while. I think that's the biggest enjoyment I get is just bumping into people that I haven't seen in years. And just, it's like a time machine. Going to a football game when you're in your late 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. And you go back, the smell's the same from when you were 20 to 21. The electric atmosphere, seeing the young kids just makes you feel young. And I think that's the biggest thing about college sports that you don't have in the NFL. You don't. And I don't care what kind of realignment you have, as long as you have students attending the games and participating, they're going to have those memories when they're older, and it's just going to rinse and repeat. I remember talking to a gentleman who's since passed. I was deployed with him. He was a high-ranking officer in the West Virginia National Guard, and when we were in Iraq, he'd tell me stories of, Terry Bowden going up to the frat houses and beating people's ass because they said something about his dad. That's great. You're hearing about stories from the 70s. Kids now are hearing stories that I tell about the 90s, and so on and so on and so on. So that's what I'm looking forward to in 2 weeks. So, Mountaineers, I feel it. I'm going to say it. I know they're going to pull out a big W against the Lions. And I don't care how good that Penn State Creamery ice cream is, not going to taste better than victory. Yeah, baby. So with that, good night, and I will catch you Tuesday. Stay tuned, click your notifications, and I will let you know when we're going to go live, probably right after Joey and I do the Voice of College Football West Virginia. So see you then.
Yeah.